Limiting the number of migrant workers eligible to work on Louisiana's farms and ranches could have its biggest impact on the state's largest row crop industry, sugarcane. This week in Louisiana Agriculture's Avery Davidson is standing by with the general manager of the American Sugarcane League with the very latest. Avery?
Mike, as you just heard in Kristen's story, there are major changes coming to the H-2B program which could impact Louisiana. One of the industries which will be impacted the most is the sugarcane industry, which is why Jim Seymour from the American Sugarcane League, the general manager with the American Sugarcane League, is with us. Jim, tell me a little bit about how this could affect the sugarcane industry and what are your concerns?
Well, we rely on these immigrant workers, both H-2A and H-2B workers, to come in and provide temporary work for us. The jobs that they fill are jobs that we can't get locals to do for a 90-day period. Some very important jobs for us. One of them is sugar boilers in our facilities, in the mills, the 11 sugar mills that we have. These boilers come in and actually boil the sugar to crystallize it. And it's more of an artisan type form than an actual science. So we have to bring these folks in that have lots of experience, a kind of journeymen that follow the sugar industry around the world providing these services.
And if things happen so that you can't get these boilers in time for harvest, what could that do to our industry?
Yeah, well, it would potentially delay the startup. We'd have to figure out some kind of makeshift arrangement to do it, but it has the potential to really impact us. I mean, there's not any other source to do anything else with cane but boil it down and make sugar with it. And so any delays affects quality over time and those kinds of things. So it's very important that we get these workers in on a timely fashion.
And the boiler is probably the most important person at the mill, because if you send it out from the mill and it's not the quality, say, Domino wants, what could happen? That's
correct. I mean, you know, the boiling process is crucial. A lot of the other processes in the mill are not as skilled as boiling. And so without those boilers, it just backs up the whole process and really creates some problems for us.
One of the things Kristen brought up in her story was about the wage changes. How is that going to affect the sugar industry as well? Because from what I understand, it could double it from $8 to $16.
That's correct. When you bring these workers in, you have to make sure that you're paying them what's called the prevailing wage. And these wages are determined by different arrangements with the federal government and immigration services. And there are some provisions right now that are actually increasing and doubling prevailing wages as you discussed. And there are problems with that program, and we're concerned about it. In addition to getting folks in, if we get them in, it could substantially increase the cost to our millers and our growers also.
Well, what are you, as the general manager of the American Sugarcane League, doing to work with the federal government and work with the labor folks to get this rectified?
Yeah, there are a couple of things that efforts that we have underway, working with immigration, working with Louisiana's congressional delegation and with folks in Washington to try to solve some of these issues. The problem is that these immigration issues are much bigger than just H-2A and H-2B. You get drawn in to complete immigration reform and that kind of stuff. So it's very difficult to solve this one problem without addressing total immigration reform. So it's a very tricky issue for us. And we're trying to figure out ways to manipulate around all of that, but it's very, very difficult.
It's always tricky when agriculture and politics sort of have to meet, especially something as politically charged as immigration.
Correct, and it's just not sugar. It's a broader issue for a number of industries, seafood processors and crawfish farmers, crawfish processors, rice millers. So it's a big issue that gets pretty broad across the whole U.S. and not just isolated to Louisiana.
Well, Jim, we're glad that you're fighting for the sugar industry. He is Jim Seymour, the general manager of the American Sugarcane League. So, Mike, obviously the sugar industry, the largest row crop industry here in Louisiana, could be most affected. We'll keep you updated on what's happening with the H-2B program. Back to you.
Avery Davidson, thanks.